When did the Battle of Midway start?
It started June 4th, 1942.
How long did it last?
It lasted for 3 days and ended on June 7th, 1942.
Where did it happen?
It happened all over the Pacific and the Midway Atoll in the middle of U.S. and East Asia.
How far is it from Holmes County?
It is 5,241 miles from Holmes County.
Who was the commander-in-chief for the U.S. during the Battle of Midway?
The commander-in-chief of the U.S. during World War II was Chester W. Nimitz. He was appointed commander-in-chief 10 days after the bombing of Pearl Harbor by President FDR. During the Battle of Midway, he was also a fleet admiral.
When was he born?
He was born on February 24th, 1885, and in World War I, he was appointed Chief of Staff and awarded Letter of Commendation.
Who was the commander-in-chief of Japanese during World War II?
The commander-in-chief of the Japanese was Asarako Yamato. Yamato was also the Japanese Marshal Admiral during the battle.
When was he born?
He was born on April 4th, 1884. Who was involved during the battle?
It was between the United States and Japan.
What was Japan's main focus during the battle?
Japan mainly focused on sinking U.S. aircraft carriers. On June 4th, the U.S. sent out dive bombers to sink Japanese ships and caught them refueling and rearming, which made them vulnerable, and the U.S. ended up sinking 4 fleet carriers, the Akagi, Kaga, Soryu, and Hiryu.
What were the casualties of the battle?
For Japanese, there were 322 aircraft and over 5,000 seamen lost. For America, there were 147 aircraft and more than 300 seamen.
What was the reason for the war?
The reason the war happened was because at Pearl Harbor, the Japanese were trying to eliminate the U.S. from having power in the Pacific. The attack location and the time were confirmed when the American base at Midway sent a false message that it was short off of fresh water. The Japanese hoped another defeat would ensure Japan's domination in the Pacific. Breaking news! Were the U.S. aware of the attack?
Yes, we were. We were breaking Japanese flight codes, and we were aware of the attack. We just didn't know where they were going to attack at.
When did you die?
February 1966,
How did you die?
from a stroke.
Breaking news! What was your plan?
Our plan was to wait for the U.S. to counterattack so we could lure out the American fleet and so we could eventually dominate the Pacific.
How did you die and when?
I died on April 1943 from the Americans finding out which plan I was, and they shot it down.
G9.
Battleship sunk.
I-1.
Direct hit.
G5. C5.
February 24th, 1885. And, yeah. Frick.
Breaking news! Were the U.S. aware about the attack? The attack location and the time it was short of fresh water. The Japanese message